Lieutenant Tai stared out the thick glass window of Outpost 7. The stars glittered like cold diamonds against the black emptiness of space. Earth was just a small blue dot from here, at the edge of the solar system. "What do you think, Bora? Missing home?" he asked, looking down at the stocky blue pit bull sitting beside him. Bora tilted her head and gave a small whine. Her muscular body was covered in short, shiny fur that looked almost metallic under the outpost's lights. Her chest was broad and strong, and her eyes were alert and intelligent. Tai smiled and scratched behind her ears. Bora was the only pit bull in Earth's space program. She had passed every test they gave her. She was strong, smart, and braver than most humans Ta knew. "Come on, girl. Time for our rounds," Ta said. The outpost was quiet today. Only 10 people worked here, watching for any signs of danger or new discoveries at the edge of human space. Ta and Bora walked through the metal hallways, their footsteps echoing. Bora's special boots made soft clicking sounds on the floor. They reached the control room, where Specialist Dury sat watching screens filled with data. Her short black hair was pulled back from her face, and her dark eyes were focused on her work. "Any news today?" Tai asked. Dury shook her head. Quiet as always. 3 months with nothing but... A loud beeping cut her off. One of the screens flashed red. "What is that?" Ta moved closer. "A signal," Dury said, her fingers moving quickly over the controls. "Not one of ours." Tai felt his heart beat faster. "From where?" "Beyond our system," Dury whispered. "Lieutenant, I think we just received our first alien contact." Bora growled softly, sensing the change in the room. The next hours were filled with activity. The signal was sent to Earth Command. Corporal Han, a tall man with a serious face, joined them in the control room. Commander June called from Earth with their orders. "The signal appears to be a distress call." Commander June's voice crackled through the speakers. "We need you to investigate." "Us?" Tai asked. "Shouldn't we wait for a proper first contact team?" "The signal is fading. Whatever sent it might not have much time. Your team is closest. Take the scout ship and check it out. Report everything you find." Ta nodded. "Yes, sir. What about Bora?" There was a pause. "The dog. Leave it at the outpost." "Sir, with respect, Bora is trained for space operations. She can detect things our equipment might miss, and her senses are sharper than ours." Commander June sighed. "Fine, but this is on you, Lieutenant." 2 hours later, Tai, Han, and Dury were preparing the scout ship. Bora watched as Tai pulled out her special spacesuit. It was designed just for her, with reinforced material and a clear helmet that let her use her keen sense of smell. "Ready for an adventure, girl?" Tai asked as he helped her into the suit. Bora wagged her tail once, her eyes steady and calm. The scout ship was small but fast. As they pulled away from the outpost, Ta felt the weight of what they were doing. Humans had wondered for centuries if they were alone in the universe. Now they might find out. "Signal source is about 6 hours away at top speed," Dury reported. "What do we know about it?" Han asked, checking the ship's weapon systems. "Not much. It's definitely artificial. The pattern is too regular to be natural. But the message itself, I can't decode it yet." Ta looked out at the stars, then down at Bora, who sat calmly in her special seat, secured for the journey. "Whatever we find out there," he said quietly, "we're making history today." Bora looked up at him with trusting eyes, ready to face whatever waited for them in the darkness of space. The ship made a sound that no human had ever heard before. It was not a sound from Earth. It was not a sound from any known part of space. The noise started low, like a deep rumble in the ground, and then grew into something that seemed to break the rules of how sound should work. Hyum Park stood very still. His hand was on his pulse rifle, but he knew that a weapon might not help against something this strange. The pit bull at his side, did not move. The dog's muscles were tight, like steel cables ready to snap into action. The alien ship began to change. Its metal skin was not really metal. It was alive. It moved and shifted like something between a machine and a living creature. Pieces pulled apart. Sections folded out. The surface rippled like water, but water made of silver and dark green colors that seemed to breathe. Then it opened. The opening was not like a door. It was more like a wound that slowly healed itself inside out. Edges of the ship pulled back, revealing something that made Kyung's brain struggle to understand what he was seeing. 6 heads emerged. Each head was different. The first head looked like it was made of crystal and shadow. It had no eyes that Kyung could see, but something was watching everything. The second head seemed to be made of moving metal pieces that kept changing shape. Thin metal lines moved like muscles, creating and destroying shapes faster than human eyes could follow. The third head was worst of all. It looked organic, like something that grew instead of being built. Tendrils moved around it. Small parts seemed to breathe and pulse with a sickening rhythm. Kyung felt sick just looking at it. The fourth head was almost beautiful. It shimmered with colors that humans had no names for. Blues that were not blue. Greens that were not green. It moved with a grace that made it look like it was dancing, even though nothing was dancing. The fifth head looked like a computer had tried to create a living thing. Sharp edges, perfect lines, something that was calculated instead of born. It seemed cold, logical, dangerous in a way that was different from the other heads. The sixth head was the smallest. But Kyung knew, somehow he knew, that this head was the most important. It did not move like the others. It watched. It waited. It seemed to understand things that no one else could understand. Day growled. The sound was low, deep. It came from somewhere inside the dog that was more than just an animal. This was a sound of warning, a sound that said, "I see you, and I am not afraid." The six-headed creature stopped moving. All 6 heads turned at the same time. They looked at Kyung. They looked at Da. The movement was too perfect, too synchronized. Something was happening that humans were not meant to see. Kyung's radio crackled. Static filled the air. Then a voice, if you could call it a voice, began to speak. But it did not speak with words. It spoke directly into the minds of everyone nearby. Something had arrived, and nothing would be the same again. Day's growl got louder. "Earth Command, do you copy? This is Lieutenant Ta. We found something strange in the lower decks." Ta's voice echoed in the dark hallway of the alien ship. Static was the only reply. "Earth Command." Ta tried again. "Outpost 7. Is anyone there?" Nothing but crackling sounds came from its radio. "Our communications are down," said Han, checking his equipment. "Something is blocking the signal." Duri looked at her scanner. "I don't like this. The ship's power levels are changing. Something is happening." Bora growled softly, her ears forward and alert. The pit bull's body was tense, her nose working quickly as she sniffed the air inside her helmet. "We should go back to our ship," Ta said. "Now." They turned around, moving quickly through the strange corridors of the alien vessel. The walls seemed to pulse with a faint light that hadn't been there before. "It feels like the ship is waking up," Duri whispered. Suddenly, a deep rumble shook the entire vessel. The floor tilted sharply under their feet. Han fell against a wall. Duri stumbled forward. Then came the explosion. It wasn't like Earth explosions with fire and smoke. Instead, a wave of blue energy burst from somewhere below them. The force threw them all in different directions. Tai felt his body slam into something hard. Pain shot through his head. The world went black. When Tai opened his eyes, his helmet was cracked but still holding air. His body ached. How long had he been unconscious? Minutes? Hours? "Han. Duri?" he called out. No answer. A wet nose pressed against his gloved hand. Bora was there, her pit bull body standing guard over him. Her spacesuit was dirty but undamaged. "Good girl," Ta whispered. "Where are the others?" Tai tried to stand but fell back with a groan. His leg was hurt, but not broken. His equipment was damaged. The scanner showed nothing but static. His weapon system was offline. Bora's suit was still working perfectly. The special gear made for her tough body had survived the blast. Han. Duri? Ta called again into his damaged radio. Can anyone hear me? Only silence answered. Ta looked around. They were in a different part of the ship now. The explosion must have opened up a hole in the floor, dropping him and Bora to a lower level. There was no sign of Han or Duri. Bora whined softly and walked to a nearby window. Ta limped over to join her. What he saw made his blood turn cold. Another ship had attached itself to the hull of the vessel they were exploring. This new ship was dark and sharp-looking, with spikes along its sides. It reminded Ta of the deep-sea predators from Earth's oceans. "We're not alone," Ta whispered. A light flashed on his cracked display. Somehow, his translator was picking up a signal. Words appeared on his screen. Hunting party. Target acquired. Release the SARAK. 3 PRUIDETCTED. 1 QVUADRUPEDANOMMALY. Tay's heart raced. They were being hunted. He needed to find Han and Duri. They needed to escape. But how? With his injured leg and damaged equipment. Tad looked at the security displays on the alien ship's walls. They showed different parts of the vessel. On one screen, he saw movement. Something was entering the ship from the Predator vessel. Something big. The creature that stepped into view made Ta's breath catch in his throat. It stood on 6 powerful legs. Its body was covered in armor-like plates, but it was the heads that made Ta stare in horror. 6 heads on 6 flexible necks moved independently, each one different from the others. One had huge eyes, another had giant ears, a third had wide nostrils. The fourth had strange antennae. The fifth had what looked like heat-sensing pits. The sixth was covered in tiny moving hairs, a perfect hunter with senses beyond anything on Earth. "We need to find the others," Ta said to Bora. "Before that thing does." Bora stood tall, her muscular body ready. She wasn't afraid. The alien beast had 6 heads, but the pit bull didn't care. She was ready to protect her human. Ta dragged himself to a control panel on the wall. His leg throbbed with pain, but he needed information. Who were these hunters? What was that 6-headed creature? The alien ship's systems were still partly working. Ta connected his translator to it. Strange symbols flashed across the screen, slowly changing into words he could understand. "Come on," Ta muttered. "Tell me something useful." Bora sat alert beside him, her eyes fixed on the door. Her ears twitched at every small sound. Finally, the translator began to work. Files appeared on the screen. Ta opened one labeled Threat Database. "The Narak," Ta read aloud. "A species from the Orion arm of the galaxy." Images showed tall, thin beings with gray skin. They had 4 arms and narrow faces with vertical slits for eyes. They wore armor made from the bones and skins of other species. Ta read more. "The Narak consider themselves the supreme hunters of the galaxy. They believe only the strongest deserve to live. They hunt other intelligent species for sport and trophies." Bora growled softly, as if she understood. "That explains why they're here," Ta said. "They were hunting the aliens who sent the distress signal." He scrolled through more files. "And now they're hunting us." A new file opened, showing the 6-headed creature Ta had seen. "The Saraki," he read, "the ultimate hunting beast of the Narak. Bioengineered from 6 different predator species." The file explained how each head had a special purpose. The first head had eyes that could see in all light levels and detect the smallest movements. The second head could hear sounds too quiet for most species to notice. The third head could smell a single drop of blood from a mile away. The fourth head sensed electrical signals, even the tiny ones from a beating heart. The fifth head detected heat signatures through walls. The 6th head felt vibrations through the floor. ceiling, and walls. Nothing can hide from it, Ta whispered. That's why they only sent one. Bora pressed against his leg, solid and warm. Her eyes seemed to say, "We'll face it together." Ta continued reading. The Narak hunters wore special devices that connected their minds to the Siraki. They could see through all 6 heads at once. They controlled the hunt from their ship, watching the fear of their prey. They're watching us right now, Tay realized. He searched through more files and found communications between this ship and others. The aliens who built this vessel were called the Luma. They were peaceful explorers who had encountered the Narak 3 months ago. Since then, the Narak had hunted them across several star systems, killing most of them. This ship was the last one, carrying the final survivors of the Luma species. And now they're gone too, Ta said sadly. We were too late to help them. A new message appeared on the screen. It was from the Narak ship, being broadcast throughout both vessels. Attention new prey species. We are the Narak, the supreme hunters of the galaxy. Your presence in our hunting grounds is a challenge we accept. Your species is unknown to us, but you will make worthy trophies. Run if you wish. Hide if you can. The Siraki hunts you now. Tay's jaw tightened. They think this is a game. He looked at another screen showing the Siraki moving through the ship's corridors, all 6 heads working together to track them. What they don't understand, Ta said to Bora, is that humans don't give up easily. And they certainly don't know anything about pit bulls. Bora's muscular body seemed to stand taller at his words. Todd pulled up a map of the ship on the screen. We need to find Han and Duri before that thing does. Then we need to get back to our ship and warn Earth about the Narak. He grabbed a metal rod to use as a crutch and checked his pistol. It still worked. Let's move, he told Bora. And let's show these hunters that sometimes the prey bites back. Tai limped through the dark hallways of the alien ship with Bora at his side. His leg hurt with each step, but he forced himself to keep moving. They had to find Han and Duri. Han. Duri. Ta called out, keeping his voice low enough not to echo too far. Bora's ears perked up. She turned her head sharply to the left and gave a soft whine. You hear something, girl, Ta whispered. Bora pulled gently on his pant leg with her teeth, then moved toward a narrow passage. Ta followed her, trusting the pit bull's sharp senses. Her special training for space missions had included search and rescue. They moved deeper into the ship. The walls here were damaged, with bent metal and broken pipes. Water or some other liquid dripped from the ceiling. Suddenly, a loud groan of metal filled the air. The ship was shifting. That's not good, Ta muttered. Before he could move, the floor beneath them shuddered. With a terrible screech, a section of the ceiling collapsed. Ta shoved Bora forward, out of danger, just as the heavy metal crashed down. Pain exploded in Ta's right leg as it was trapped under the fallen debris. He bit back a scream. Bora rushed back to him, barking inside her helmet. She pawed at the metal pinning his leg. It's okay, girl, Ta gasped through the pain. I'm stuck. He tried to pull free, but the weight was too much. The debris had him firmly trapped. Ta looked around. They were in what seemed to be a communication room. Screens on the walls showed different parts of the ship. On one of them, Tai saw movement. Han, he whispered. Corporal Han was alive. He was moving carefully through a storage area, his gun drawn. He looked scared, but unhurt. On another screen, Tai saw something that made his blood run cold. The 6-headed Siraki was in the same section of the ship, only 2 corridors away from Han. All 6 heads were searching, sensing, hunting. Han has no idea it's so close, Ta said. He tried his radio again, but it was still dead. There was no way to warn Han. Then Ta saw a 3rd screen. Specialist Duri was nowhere to be seen, but a new doorway had opened in the hull where the Narak ship was attached. 3 of the tall, gray hunters were entering the Luma vessel. They're coming aboard, Todd whispered. They want to watch the hunt up close. Bora growled, her eyes fixed on the screens showing the Saraki. Tai made a hard decision. Bora, listen to me. He pointed to the screen showing Han. Find him. Bring him here. Bora whined, not wanting to leave her human. I'm stuck, girl. I can't move. But you can. You need to help Han before that thing gets him. Bora still hesitated. Go, Bora. Now, search and rescue, just like we trained. The pit bull understood the command. She gave Ta's hand a quick lick through his torn glove, then turned and ran down the corridor, following her training. Ta watched her go, then turned back to the screens. He could see Bora now, running through the ship's passages. Her powerful legs moved quickly in her special spacesuit. Good girl, Ta whispered. He looked at another screen where the Saraki was moving. One of its heads suddenly turned, as if sensing something new. It changed direction. It was heading toward Bora. Ta pulled desperately at his trapped leg, but couldn't free himself. All he could do was watch the screens. Come on, Bora, he said. You can do this. On another screen, he saw the Narek hunters watching their own displays. Their thin gray faces showed what might have been amusement. They think this is just sport, Ta said through gritted teeth. They have no idea what they're dealing with. He looked at Bora again, running bravely through the alien ship. A pit bull doesn't know how to quit, Ta said to himself. And neither do humans. Bora ran through the dark hallways of the alien ship. Her paws made soft sounds inside her special boots. Her nose worked hard, trying to catch Han's scent through her helmet. She knew her job. Find Han. Bring him to Ta. She had done search and rescue many times in training, but never with a six-headed monster hunting her. In the communications room, Ta watched the screens. His trapped leg throbbed with pain, but he forgot about it as he followed Bora's progress. That's it, girl, he whispered. Keep moving. On another screen, he could see the Saraki. The beast moved with terrible grace. All six heads worked together like parts of a single mind. The head with huge eyes scanned every shadow. The one with giant ears turned at the smallest sound. Tad noticed something. The Saraki was faster than Bora, but it was too big for some of the smaller passages. Bora could go places it couldn't. Smart girl, Ta said as he watched Bora squeeze through a narrow pipe. Han moved carefully through the storage area. His breathing was quick and shallow inside his helmet. He knew something was wrong. The explosion, the lost communications, the strange noises echoing through the ship. A sound made him turn. Something was coming. He raised his gun. A blue shape bounded toward him. Han almost fired before he recognized Bora. Bora, Han whispered. Where's Ta? Bora barked once, then tugged at his sleeve. You want me to follow you? Han asked. Bora barked again and started back the way she had come. Han hesitated. Then he heard a new sound, a strange clicking and hissing. It came from the corridor behind him. Something big was coming. Han didn't wait any longer. He followed Bora. The Narek commander watched through his mind link with the Saraki. His thin lips pulled back from sharp teeth in what might have been a smile. The prey splits up, he said to the two hunters with him. This makes the game more interesting. One of the other Narek looked at a screen showing Bora leading Han through the ship. What is that four-legged creature? She asked. It wears artificial covering like the prey, but it is clearly a different species. Some kind of servant animal, the commander said. Many prey species keep lesser beings as tools or pets. It moves with purpose, the third Narek noted. It may be more intelligent than it appears. The commander made a dismissive gesture with one of his four hands. It is no match for the Saraki. Nothing is. Back in the communications room, Ta watched Bora and Han move through the ship. They were taking a roundabout route, using small passages when possible. Good thinking, Bora, Ta said. Keep to the tight spaces. He noticed something else. Bora wasn't taking the most direct route back to him. Instead, she was leading Han and the Saraki through a specific path. Tad looked closer at the ship's map. Bora was heading toward the maintenance tunnels, the smallest spaces on the ship, places where the six-headed beast would have trouble following. You're not just running, Tay realized. You're leading it into a trap. On the screen, he could see the Sareki growing frustrated. It would get close to Bora and Han, only to have them slip into another narrow passage. The beast was forced to go around, losing time. One of the Saraki's heads let out an angry roar that echoed through the ship. Ta saw the Narak hunters watching their screens. They no longer looked amused. Now they looked concerned. That's right, Ta whispered with a grim smile. This hunt isn't going how you planned, is it? He watched as Bora led Han through another tight corridor. The pit bull moved with confidence, like she had a plan. Never underestimate a dog from Earth, Ta said. Especially not a pit bull. The Narak commander slammed his fist against the control panel. The six-headed Sareki was losing ground to a simple animal. This had never happened before. What is this creature? He demanded. No mere animal shows such tactics. The female Narak studied her screens. The four-legged being is forcing our hunter to take longer routes. It knows the ship's layout better than the Sareki does. Impossible, the commander hissed. The Sareki has all the ship's plans in its mind. Plans do not show broken walls or fallen debris, the third Narak pointed out. This blue animal finds paths too small for our hunter. The commander's vertical pupils narrowed. No prey escapes the Sareki. Not ever. Han followed Bora through yet another narrow passage. His breath came in quick gasps. Where are we going? He asked. Bora just kept moving, her stocky body squeezing through tight spaces with surprising grace. Behind them, Han heard the Saraki's frustrated roars. The beast was being forced to take longer routes around the areas too small for its massive body. Smart dog, Han said as he crawled through a broken vent after Bora. You're making it take the long way. They emerged into a wider corridor. Han checked his oxygen level. It was getting low. We need to find Tai and Duri soon, he told Bora. My air won't last forever. Bora barked once and picked up her pace. Tai worked furiously at the control panel. He couldn't free his trapped leg, but he had found something important in the ship's systems. The Luma were smarter than the Narak thought, he muttered. The peaceful aliens had built secret defenses into their ship, traps that could be triggered from the control room. Ta couldn't read all the Luma language, but he understood enough to know these systems could help them. On the screens, he saw Bora and Han getting closer to his position. The Sareki was falling behind, forced to detour around the small passages they used. Then Tai saw something that made his heart leap. A flash of movement in a storage bay. There was Duri, hiding behind containers. She was alive. But she wasn't alone. One of the Narak hunters had separated from the others. It was searching the storage bay, moving closer to Duri's hiding spot. No, Ta whispered. He needed to warn her, but his radio was still dead. Ta looked at the controls in front of him. Maybe there was another way. Bora's ears perked up as a soft chime sounded throughout the ship. Lights flickered in a pattern along the floor. The pit bull recognized a signal when she saw one. This was like the training lights at the Space Center. They showed paths to follow during emergencies. Bora barked at Han and followed the lights. You understand those? Han asked in surprise. Lead the way then. The Narak commander saw the lights too. The other prey is interfering with the ship's systems, he snarled. Find the source. Commander, the female Narak called. We've located the third prey in storage section 4. The commander's mouth formed that terrible smile again. Send the Sareki there. End this game. The beast cannot reach that section quickly from its current position, she replied. Kalon is closer. He will capture this prey. Tai watched Duri on the screen. She was smart, staying hidden, but the Narak hunter was getting closer with each passing minute. He had managed to activate the emergency guidance system to lead Bora and Han to him. Now he needed to help Duri too. Tay's fingers moved over the alien controls. He found what he was looking for, the storage bay door controls. "Let's see how you like being trapped," Ta said. He triggered the command. On the screen, he saw heavy doors slam shut, separating the Narak hunter from Duri. But the alien wasn't trapped for long. It pulled out a device and began cutting through the door. "That won't hold it forever," Ta muttered. "Hurry, Bora. We need to get to Duri." He looked at the screen showing the Saraki. The beast had changed direction. It was now heading straight for the storage bay. The race was on. Bora and Han finally reached the communications room where Ta was trapped. "Lieutenant," Han rushed to Ta's side. "What happened?" "Ceiling collapsed," Ta said through gritted teeth. "My leg is pinned, but that's not important now. Duri is in danger." He pointed to the screen showing the storage bay. The Narak hunter was halfway through cutting the door. "And the six-headed beast is heading there too," Ta added. Han examined the metal debris trapping Ta's leg. "I can't move this alone." Bora whined and pawed at Ta's arm. "I know, girl," Ta said. "You want to help Duri." Tay's mind raced. They needed a plan. He looked at the screens, studying the ship's layout. "Han, check that locker." The Luma might have kept emergency tools there. Han found a small cutting tool, similar to a laser cutter. This might work on the debris. While Han began cutting the metal, Tai turned to Bora. "I need you to do something very brave." The pit bull stood at attention, sensing the seriousness in her human's voice. "The storage bay connects to the engine room," Tai explained to Han. "If we can get the Saraki into the engine room, we might have a chance." "How?" Han asked, still working on the metal. "The Luma built fail-safes into their ship. The engine room can be sealed and vented into space if needed." Ta looked at Bora. "But we need to get the Saraki there, away from Duri." Han understood. "You want Bora to lure it there." "Yes," Ta said. "She's been doing it already. The beast can't resist chasing her." Bora's eyes never left Ta's face. She seemed to understand every word. "But how will she know where to go?" Han asked. Tay tapped commands into the control panel. "I'll guide her with the emergency lights, like before." He turned to Bora. "Follow the blue lights. Lead the beast to the big room with the glowing center. Then get out through the small duct I'll mark with green lights." Bora barked once. "Ready." "Good girl," Ta said softly. "Be careful." Bora nuzzled Ta's hand, then turned and ran from the room. The Narak commander watched with growing rage as the blue animal appeared on his screen again, running alone now. "It goes to the engine room," the female Narak said. "Direct the Saraki to intercept," the commander ordered. "This ends now." Duri pressed herself into a small space between containers. The hunter was almost through the door. She could hear the cutting tool getting louder. Suddenly, emergency lights began flashing near another exit. Duri understood. Someone was helping her. She quietly moved toward the lights, finding a small maintenance tunnel. As she crawled inside, she heard the door finally give way. The Narak hunter entered the storage bay, but Duri was already gone. Bora ran through the ship, following the blue lights Ta had activated. She could hear the Sareki changing course to pursue her. Its 6 heads roared in 6 different voices. The pit bull's powerful legs carried her swiftly through the corridors. She wasn't running in fear. She was leading the hunt now. The lights guided her to the massive engine room. The center glowed with strange energy, lighting the room in blue and green. Bora entered and stopped in the middle of the room. She turned to face the door, her stocky body tense but unafraid. The Sareki appeared in the doorway. All 6 heads focused on her. It had cornered its prey at last. The beast entered slowly, cautiously. It sensed something was wrong. This prey was too calm, too ready. Behind the Sareki, Han appeared at another entrance, carrying a weapon he'd found in the Luma ship. Duri stood beside him, having followed her own set of emergency lights. The Sareki was trapped between them. But the great beast wasn't concerned about the humans. It focused all 6 heads on Bora. This small blue animal had led it on a frustrating chase. Now it would pay. The Sareki charge. Bora didn't run. As the beast reached her, she did something no creature had ever done when facing a Sareki. She attacked. With lightning speed, Bora leaped straight at the main head, the one that controlled the others. Her powerful jaws clamped down on the base of its neck. The Sareki thrashed and roared. Its other heads tried to bite Bora, but they couldn't reach without injuring themselves. "Now," Han shouted, firing his weapon at the beast. The Sareki stumbled backward, still trying to shake off the pit bull locked onto its primary head. "Bora, exit tunnel." Tay's voice came through the ship's speakers. He had freed himself and reached the main control room. Green lights flashed near a small duct. Bora saw them. She released her grip and dropped to the floor, then darted toward the exit. The wounded Sareki tried to follow, but the duct was much too small for its massive body. "Sealing engine room," Tay announced. "Goodbye, Hunter." Heavy doors slammed shut, trapping the Sareki inside. "Engine room venting to space in 30 seconds," Tay's voice announced over the speakers. The Sareki threw itself against the sealed doors, but they held firm. All 6 heads roared in fury. The Narak had never lost a hunt before. In the control room, Ta watched the screens with Han and Duri. Bora sat beside him, her tail wagging slightly. "Where's the rest of the Narak?" Han asked. "Running back to their ship," Ta said, pointing to a screen showing the thin gray aliens retreating. "They're leaving their prized hunter behind." Duri asked in surprise. "Hunters don't like becoming the hunted," Ta said with a grim smile. The ship's computer counted down. 10 seconds to vent. The Narak ship detached from the Luma vessel with a loud clang. 5 seconds. The engine room doors opened to the vacuum of space. The Sareki was pulled out into the darkness, its 6 heads still roaring silently in the void. Engine room vented. "Resealing now," the computer announced. "Did we win?" Han asked. Ta looked at the screens. The Narak ship was turning away. "They're leaving." "I think we did." Duri hugged Bora, who licked her face through the cracked helmet. "You saved us all, brave girl." "We need to get back to our ship," Ta said, standing carefully on his injured leg. "We have to warn Earth about the Narak." "Will they come after us?" Han asked. "Eventually," Ta nodded. "But I think we taught them that humans aren't easy prey." Ta limped toward the exit, supported by Han. Duri followed with Bora trotting proudly beside her. 3 months later, on Earth's space station, a special ceremony was held. Military officers, scientists, and government officials filled the large hall. Commander June stood at a podium. "Today we honor extraordinary bravery in the face of a new threat to humanity." Lieutenant Ta stood at attention, his leg healed but still slightly stiff. Beside him stood Corporal Han and Specialist Duri. "Thanks to the quick thinking and courage of this team, Earth now knows about the Narak and their hunting practices," Commander June continued. "We have begun preparing our defenses and have warned other peaceful species in our sector of space." The commander looked down at the 4th member of the team. "But today, we are making history by presenting our highest honor to a non-human for the first time." Bora sat at attention, her blue coat brushed until it shone. She wore a special uniform vest made just for her. Bora showed intelligence, bravery, and loyalty beyond what we thought possible, Commander June said. She faced a creature engineered to be the perfect hunter, with 6 heads and enhanced senses, and she did not back down. The commander held up a shining medal. "I present the first Interstellar Valor Medal ever awarded to a non-human." He bent down and placed the medal on Bora's vest. Bora didn't move, holding her sit-stay perfectly as she had been trained. The room erupted in applause. Later, Tav stood with Bora at a large window looking out at the stars. Other planets were visible, new worlds that humans were just beginning to explore. "You know what, Bora?" Ta said quietly. Those Narek thought they knew everything about hunting and predators. Bora looked up at him, her eyes bright and intelligent. But they'd never met a pit bull before, Todd continued. They didn't understand that on Earth, we learned long ago that it's not the size of the dog in the fight. He bent down and scratched behind Bora's ears. It's the heart, the loyalty, and the courage inside that dog. Bora wagged her tail, then turned to look back at the stars with her human. Out there, among those distant points of light, new adventures waited. New worlds to explore. And maybe new challenges too. But whatever the universe held, Earth had learned an important lesson. When facing the unknown dangers of space, humanity's best friend was still its oldest friend. A loyal dog, ready to stand brave against any threat, even a six-headed alien beast. The end.